for only 99 cents. And you'll lend a helping hand to some hard-working American farmers.
Oh, yeah, those first ice boats had a lot of speed, but not a whole lot of control. Yeah, with the blades setting there, they couldn't steer around the ice fishing holes. Oh, geez, learned the hard way. Wider is better.
With its speed-sensitive steering technology, the White Track Grand Prix gives you precise cornering and control, even at a good clip.
You betcha. Bredere better.
Wider is better. The White Track Grand Prix by Pontiac.
Before you can throw like an MVP, catch like an all-star, or hit like a Hall of Famer, you'll have to work like a Gabe Kapler. K-Swiss.
With Days Inn hotels in over 1,800 cities and towns, finding a place to stay doesn't take a federal investigation. Days Inn, there you go.
Now, the Army offers up to $50,000 for college. If you can use that kind of money, raise your hand. Be all you can be. Call 1-800-USA-ARMY.
Tonight on ESPN, National Hockey Night, Baseball Tonight, and Sports Center. On ESPN2, the 99 NFL Draft, followed by X in Concert and NHL Tonight. And on ESPN Classic, Behind the Fights and College Basketball Classics. Do you have all the ESPN networks?
Well, guess who's on the clock? You know, their fans are unlike any others. They are. Thank goodness they're unlike any others. Look at them. The Raiders have a minute left for their first-round pick. You know, the last few years, you can't argue with the thing they've done with their first pick. Charles Woodson is going to be great. Had a wonderful year last year, and even going to be even better as his second and third year coming around. Darrell Russell is one of the best defensive tackles in football. And, you know, Napoleon Kaufman has been a good back, although there's question now as to whether, you know, Napoleon Kaufman will continue to be productive for the Raiders. Another discussion another time. Back to Solomon Wilcots in New England.
Chris and Sal Paolantonio in Cleveland. The Oakland Raiders are on the clock, and offensive line is a major need for them. They gave up 67 sacks last year. That ranked last in the league. I talked to Raiders head coach John Gruden earlier in the week, and he said he'd like to beef up the offensive line. One guy that they do like is L.J. Shelton, the tackle out of Eastern Michigan. They do have Mo Collins and Lincoln Kennedy, but they'd like to see both of them get into competition in training camp, and that offensive line needs to be fixed, and John Gruden would like to beef it up, and L.J. Shelton's one guy that they are looking at. Now let's go to Chris Berman. Back to you in New York.
All right, Sal, thank you very much. And now the Raiders are running out of clock, and the pick is in. Let's go up to the commissioner.
With the 18th pick, the Raiders select Matt Stenchcomb, tackle, University of Georgia.
The second Georgia player, along with Champ Bailey, to go, Mel.
Well, he's got a lot of experience, Chris, and he's versatile. He can play right tackle, left tackle, and also play guard. You see a kid here, you can see the polish and an offensive lineman, technically sound, good feet. A guy that was, like I say, a very consistent player and very durable. You know, this is the game here where he played with that harness on his shoulder, had a little trouble with Patrick Kearney. Kearney had 2 sacks in that game, but he's battle-tested in the SEC here against Tennessee, neutralizing the charge of the defensive end, giving the quarterback plenty of time to throw the football. So with Matt Stenchcomb, you know what you're getting. You take him with a lot of experience, a lot of versatility that you can plug in at several spots, Chris.
Well, so Stenchcomb, Oakland uses almost all 15 minutes on the clock. And the New York Football Giants are on the clock. And the fastest their offense has moved in about 2 years, their pick is already up. Lineman, Mel?
They want an offensive tackle. They wanted Faneca last year. They want an offensive tackle that has some versatility.
With the 19th pick, the Giants select Luke Pettigrew, tackle, Notre Dame.
And not many Giant fans were expecting that, Mel.
Well, you thought about Aaron Gibson, offensive tackle with Wisconsin, still on the board at this point, right tackle or guard. Luke Pettigrew is a guy who has gradually moved up the draft board. He's versatile as well, play right tackle or left tackle, deep snapping ability. And you watch Luke Pettigrew, consistent football player. We talked about that with Matt Stinchcomb. I think the Giants know what they're getting. Left tackle here, number 54, drives the defensive end out of the play. Here at the right tackle spot against Arizona State, providing running room as well, again, in pass protection. Decent feet, very strong, did 30 reps at the combine. So a kid who's had a lot of game experience against quality opposition and provides some versatility, just like Matt Stinchcomb. Very similar type of players. Stinchcomb and Pettigrew, and everybody's upset about Aaron Gibson, but Gibson's a right tackle, maybe a guard. Pettigrew does for the Giants provide a little bit more versatility, and Robin Oben could be an unrestricted free agent after the '99 season.
Yeah, very quickly, what's going on in the stands here is that the Giant fans gave the Eagles a hard time because they wanted Ricky Williams and they drafted Donovan McNabb. Well, the Eagles fans have just sent it back to the Giants going, Luke, who? The Giants stink. I mean, it's good. The season is underway. Let's go back to Oakland and their pick of Stinchcomb on the offensive line.
Well, I think you have to take a look at the depth on the offensive line and who lines up on the offensive line. Certainly, if John Gruden is going to want to run his offense with Rich Gannon there now, he's going to need some help. Mo Collins, a young guy, is going to play for him. They get Wisniewski there. Robbins is back. Ashmore, Kennedy. So what happens is you've got some experience and some youth. Now, all of a sudden, you have an opportunity to add Stinchcomb. You wind up with a young tackle who can come in and play for you. Offensive tackles are so valuable now, especially in the quick set offenses that you see in Green Bay, you will see in Philadelphia, and as you see now in Oakland. I think with Rich Gannon there, you can look for the Oakland Raiders to make a real move offensively to be a lot more productive and cut down tremendously on the sacks that they had last year.
And team, it has to be smiling in the same division. Mike Holmgren and Seattle Seahawks. Chris, you look at an offensive tackle in need area, they move down, and here's L.J. Shelton. Still there on the board.
Or Gibson.
And then Gibson, but Shelton and Gibson still on the board, particularly L.J. Shelton. You look at a kid who I thought had a great year at left tackle for Eastern Michigan, an outstanding junior year as well. And then in the Senior Bowl, showed that he belonged with those top players from the major conferences. Of course, Shelton played in the MAC, so I'm very surprised that L.J. Shelton drops all the way down to pick number 20, Joe.
Well, we just took a look at what the Oakland Raiders look like on the offensive line. Now let's take a look at where the Giants are as far as their depth chart goes. Robin Oben, as Mel mentioned, getting a little longer. You're not sure whether he's going to be there. Gragg, a gigantic guy. Engler, Stone, Miles, and Brian Williams is a backup, one injured reserve. But you've got yourself a fairly good offensive line. Certainly, when I had a chance to talk to Jim Fossil earlier this week, he said, we have to find an offensive lineman. We've done very well in the skill positions. We feel good from our skill standpoints, but we really haven't built the foundation we need. Now comes the beginning of the foundation of the offensive line, Boog.
Well, let me ask you something, since the Giants got on the clock so quickly and got off the clock so quickly in a New York minute. Kerry Collins.
Yep.
Major gamble for Ernie Accorsi for Jim Fossil at quarterback or not?
Not at all. I think Kerry Collins' worst years are far behind him. He's grown up a lot. He's learned a lot. You have to look at the starts he's had, played in an NFC championship game. If the Giants were to take a quarterback at this spot, if they wanted to do that, first of all, it would have cost him a lot more than what Kerry Collins cost him. Secondly, you would have never gotten the experience, nor would you have been able to have him ready to play if needed, if Kent Graham can't get the job done. So to me, the Kerry Collins move is a terrific move by Jim Fossil and Ernie to get somebody in there who can play football, if necessary, right away with a lot of experience. Plus, he wanted to go to New York. And I think it's vitally important that guys want to be in certain places.
Here, Joe, here he is, the record of Kerry Collins as a starter. Of course, in '96, as a youngster, he took Carolina to the championship game. Again, they lost at the Packers. But the problems in the clubhouse more than anything else, you know, a 2-9, a lot of work to do.
But you know something, so much of what the reflection of that record is that football team fell off the map in a heartbeat. Remember, it was an expansion team. It was put together with veterans. They all got old in about a year, and all of a sudden, bang, they were gone. He really didn't have a lot of support around him either.
Some of the biggest names in football. Mike Ditka had Kerry Collins last year. Bill Polian, who drafted him at Carolina. Their thoughts on Kerry Collins and where he might go.
I think Kerry's really a good person. I really do. I think that like all of us, sometimes we wander through life and we just don't know where the heck we're going at times. We keep bumping into walls. But I think once he figures out where he's going,